table, not so far away.
In a table in a galaxy not so
Lies 3 filmmakers who just watched Star Wars.
Well, it's actually a few days ago.
Yeah, it was a few days ago.
Are you guys gonna ruin my really cool intro? I was
Yes!
Why?
Because you
always
always
do
exaggerate it.
But it's cool.
Exactly.
No, it's not. It's
Yes, it is
annoying.
Okay, so guys, my failed intro. Hey, this is Josh Gerson. I'm with.
Chad Gregerson.
And Andrew Young.
We are a filmmakers roundtable that's actually rectangular on a.
Trapezoid chart.
Thank you.
I wasn't even going to jump in because, god damn it.
It's like son of a bitch.
Well, it is true. Basically, last week on Sunday, we went to Star Wars birthday party and got to watch Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
But before we go into that okay, I have to say, I've been to a lot of movie theaters in my life, but that is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. So
recliners
In a good way. In a good way.
well, yeah, because there's like some movie theaters that have like those cool IMAX screens, or
Yeah.
I think there's like literal like super shallow ascents, like the giant IMAX, like the planetarium in New York. But this one, it had reclining sofas.
Motherfucking reclining sofas. I'm not even joking. It was so badass. It made badass look not so badass.
And everybody has, okay, like, you ever go to a movie theater and you kind of almost have to fight or negotiate which holster belongs to you for your drink or whatever?
Yep.
Well, now you don't have to. Now there's a clear, concise holster for you. It's
Like,
it is yours. There is no question. In fact, the only really you're gonna have to decide is who has the other holster in the middle, because you have one to the side, that's yours, but then you have to share like this little, like, it's like a couch kinda almost.
Yeah. Though there's only one problem: the motors that recline your sofa. It's very noisy.
Really?
So for me, I found it noisy and I was a little bit scared to actually move during the theater. I thought, fuck, once I start, I can't move it, or else I'm gonna annoy my fellow.
There's no reason to move it during the part of the movie anyways.
What if I need to go to the bathroom?
You better hold it, because I had to hold it.
Well, look. Here's what you could have done. You could have waited until the explosions and the chaos and mayhem, and then you could have done it, and nobody would have been the wiser.
But I didn't know.
And then you
when
would
that was
leave
gonna
and miss the entire story arc of the movie.
Though, thankfully, I have a bladder of steel. And
You have a bladder still. I had to literally sit there probably an hour in the movie is when I had to piss.
Okay, all right.
I was smart. I didn't order a fucking bucket to drink at one of the most important movie events in history.
Okay, enough with our bodily functions and our, worrying
Bodily
of
fluids and excretions.
Exactly.
Yes.
So let's just go ahead and jump into Star Wars. So basically, for those of you who know about J.J. Abrams, he does this thing called the Mystery Box. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a great TED Talk where he's talking about the Mystery Box and what he does to misdirect people.
Well, he does two things. It's a giant mystery box and a lens flare.
Actually, he was
There's only
really
one.
well behaved.
Yeah, there's only one lens flare I
pretty
caught in
good.
this movie.
Yeah, he did pretty
Because
good.
that was one thing I was worried about. If there's too many lens flares in this, I'm gonna lose my mind.
What if it was just one gigantic lens flare?
Oh
One
god.
massive one.
Well, it's funny you should mention that.
Anyway.
With the lens flares.
Well,
Okay,
Okay.
fine. No.
Yeah, well,
Mine's a
finish.
stupid factoid. Go on, Chad.
okay. So basically, what he's trying to describe is that in a movie, you kind of always need the audience to keep dangling. You always need to keep them guessing, not knowing what's going to happen. And he does that really well with the trailer because, okay, before I begin any further, I mean, I should say this in the title of this podcast, but there's going to be severe spoilers in this podcast.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so get ready for
Massive
this.
spoiler.
So when we are introduced to the numerous amounts of trailers we had for this movie, there's a lot of things that we were guessing about, and there's a lot of things that we thought we knew for certain. One thing I thought I knew for certain was the character Finn, which is the black stormtrooper. I thought he was going to be the new Jedi Knight because, we see him with the blue lightsaber fighting against the stormtroopers in this film. And then we also think that Rey, well, actually, we don't really know much about Rey, but she's definitely
Oh no, she was completely put to the side for the trailers, and
Well, it was meant to be that way.
no, actually, we like if you guys remember back when Star Trek Into Darkness happened,
Right.
you know, like everyone and their mothers were like, Cumberbatch is Khan, okay? We
Right.
know he's Khan.
Right.
But, you know, even like the cast, the press, J.J. Abrams made a very specific,
His name is John Harrison.
Yes, his name is John Harrison. That's it. Like all promotional material, John Harrison. So
Yeah.
and
Wait,
like I said,
John
the mystery
Harrison?
box.
Who's John Harrison?
Well,
he's
that
no
was
one.
Khan's alias in the movie.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way, for that one movie too.
Oh.
If you
Okay,
haven't seen it.
he was Khan, from like,
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
Revenge
yeah,
of
yeah.
Khan.
Well, interesting story
The
about
Wrath of Khan, I'm
how
sorry.
you all thought that one guy was the main character. Did you know John Boyega? I think that's how you say his name.
Yes.
He led his friends to believe the entire time they were filming that he was just a regular stormtrooper, that he didn't have any major part. So he told the story is when they went into the theaters, his friends were in the shock of their life because instead of being just a extra, because they thought he was an extra, but it's like, why am I an extra? And I've been going to work for a year on this movie. It makes no sense. But they thought he was an extra.
Right.
But when they walked into the theater and actually saw it, he was one of the main co-stars in the movie. So
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Anyway, so even in the beginning parts of the movie, you still think that Finn's going to be the new Jedi because we see Rey, who is the female lead in this movie, and she's basically the female version of Han Solo, kind of, because she knows the ins and outs of every kind of space vehicle. I mean, when they got to the Millennium Falcon, it's like she knew it inside and out.
I looked at her as being more the main protagonist. I looked more as Finn being more of the Han Solo
Yeah, but you see,
guy.
that's
where, you know,
I mean,
he has a
nice
this-
jacket.
yeah.
But you see, in the beginning of the movie, I thought it was reversed
really-
because it looked reversed. But then, as the story began to unravel itself, obviously it changed because obviously all our preconceptions are wrong, and which is great about the trailer because it makes you think Finn was going to be the Jedi. He's not the Jedi. It's actually Rey. And Finn, I guess he's going to become like the next Han Solo, I guess, because he's going to be our generation's Han Solo. But, that's still in development. We'll see how that progresses. But ultimately, the biggest question we all had is, like, where the hell was Luke Skywalker? Where was he? And
Yeah, and also remember, Luke, he was on, I think he was on, correct me wrong, he was on the Jimmy Fallon show.
right?
Yep.
And he says, look, I'm sorry, I can't tell you anything. If I do, I will lose a buttload of money.
Pretty much for a 6-second
It was a little more than
portion
6
of the movie,
seconds,
he
let's
was
be
in
honest.
maybe 15 seconds.
Yeah.
He
Guess
may
how
have
much
had
he
a
got-
stand-in when he didn't see his
Guess
face.
how much he got paid for 15 seconds.
You
Just
told
take
me.
a guess.
But yeah, you
Okay,
guess.
I do not know. So.
Just
Take the
10
stat.
million bucks.
no.
$1 million.
I mean,
Oh, $1 million.
A
Yeah.
million.
Actually-
for 15 seconds, basically.
we all have these questions going into the film, like, where are we now? Like, obviously, it's 30 years after the Return of the Jedi, but what's the status of the Republic? What's the status of the Empire? Who is Kylo Ren, the antagonist? What happened to Luke Skywalker? And we have all these theories, these crazy theories, mind you. Some actually believe that Kylo Ren was Luke Skywalker. That wasn't the case.
No.
So as the movie progressed, all these answers are being answered for us. But, they're doing it, like, one at a time. They're not just doing it, like, all at one time, thank God. But eventually, as the story progressed, we started developing more questions and more questions. And they find Luke Skywalker because part of the story is that he's gone kind of into hiding. Because, well, he didn't actually go into hiding. He actually just disappeared because, according to Han Solo, he went off to find the first Jedi temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because from what we can, at least what I got out of it, Luke Skywalker did train Ben Solo, Ben Solo is Leia's and Han's son, who became Kylo Ren.
Spoilers!
They only know it's a spoiler alert.
They already know.
Relax.
They already know.
Wait,
So-
what? I can't say spoiler alert every time you say a statement.
No.
If you do that, I'm going to punch you in the face.
But I love doing that.
Just like-
Spoilers! Alright, sorry.
Right in the face.
I had to get that out of me.
Okay. Anyway, so essentially Luke tried to train him in the ways of the Jedi because he was very angry as a child. But, unfortunately, that didn't work out, and he became a Sith Lord. And apparently, he's not even the main Sith Lord, because here's one thing you need to remember. In Star Wars, there's the rule of two. There's always a master and an apprentice when it comes to the Sith Lords. And the one person we heard almost nothing about in the trailers or anything was
Supreme Leader Snoke.
Yep.
And this dude looks like severely disfigured, and we only see him in through a projection. We don't actually see his physical body in this movie.
At first, because normally we were kind of taken aback. I guess I was taken aback because normally all the projections in Star Wars you get like a fuzzy blue.
Yeah, at first
image.
I thought he was that big.
Yeah, for those who probably watched it or have not watched it, spoilers. He's basically 25 feet tall.
It's essentially like how the Emperor contacted Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, but he was a fuzzy blue image.
Yes, exactly. But this was like crystal clear image. It's like, damn.
For me,
that was also back in 1977 when their CGI effects weren't.
Well,
as good
no,
as
but
they
even
are
in the
now,
prequels, they made all the holograms blue to be consistent. So obviously, 30 years has passed. We have robot technology involving balls. And
technology progresses, so you don't need
so
now
now we have Technicolor holograms, which is pretty cool.
Right.
So, fun fact: there's a cool fan theory about General Snow.
Supreme Leader Snow.
Supreme Leader Snow.
My theory is it's an older Kylo Ren. That's my theory.
Okay,
Well,
I'm just gonna say this right now.
mine.
If they involve time travel in this, I'm gonna be so angry. But that's just me.
I would be happy, I think.
Traditionally speaking, Star Wars never really had any time travel ever. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's something in the now no longer canon extended universe. However, there are two major ones that are on the internet. One, Supreme Leader Snoke is actually a Darth Plagueis. Who was the master of
Darth Vader?
Darth Sidious. Palpatine.
So, Palpatine, basically. The Emperor.
Because he found the way to manipulate midichlorians, and some believe that he may have found a way to reincarnate himself.
Basically, yeah. So, and also in the extended universe, which is now debunked, because thank you, Disney.
Jar Jar! No.
No, Jar Jar's still in there, sadly. But basically, Darth Plagueis has cheated death multiple times in the extended universe. So
he's been alive for a long time.
Yeah, no, he's crazy ancient.
Okay.
Or there's also another fan theory saying that it's actually the Emperor. Don't know how, but it's the Emperor who is just severely disfigured.
He was already severely disfigured.
Yeah, but even more so now because they don't want any Sith Lords to get laid in this franchise. You ever notice that every Sith Lord we bump into is either disfigured or
actually, there was a reason behind that because apparently, according to Star Wars mythology, if someone follows the way of the dark side of the Force, through time, their body becomes severely disfigured. So, when we see Chancellor Palpatine get struck by the lightning in Revenge of the Sith, I know you don't really like the prequels, but essentially,
for fans, I hate the prequels. Just saying.
But essentially, I do too, not gonna lie.
But essentially. What he was doing was he had a technique called mask. So he manipulated his outward appearance. So the thing is, he always looked like that.
I got something to say.
He always... Okay.
What I do have to say is, when I walked into this movie, I was not really a Star Wars fan. But when I walked out, I'm proud to say I am now a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
I just had to say that out loud.
Now, we should, however, note that you actually looked up ahead of time the whole story.
Yeah, I did.
Now, hold on. Before we actually go into that, was it all right? Was your source accurate, or was it wrong?
No, all of it was accurate.
Okay.
Every single bit of it.
Again, well, I think that from now on, Andrew, because now he's a Star Wars
Well, there's
fan.
a question. When the next one comes out, are you going to do the same thing?
Not this time, probably.
Yeah.
Not.
Okay, there we go.
Good.
Not.
How about this?
It felt good to know what was going to happen.
The next Star Wars movie comes out is Rogue One, which, for those of you who don't know, comes out next year, I believe, and it's about the story of the Bothans who got the plans for the Death Star.
Which is cool. Which means, by the way, guys, we potentially might see Darth Vader again.
Maybe Boba Fett too.
Oh my God! Seriously, Boba Fett.
That's the strangest thing about Star Wars. This one character who's had like probably a page of dialogue throughout the whole thing, and yet we want more of this guy. We want more Boba.
He's just that cool. And you know what? We have this generation's Boba Fett, and she had less lines. Phasma.
Oh, Captain Phasma.
Captain Phasma. Because basically, we had no opportunity. Basically, Phasma, she has this bitchin' outfit, super cool.
Yeah.
Her only claim to any sort of cool abilities is remembering Finn's actual name.
His designation.
His designation, which, fun fact, is the numbers that match Princess Leia's cell in the original trilogy.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Wait, let me think about it.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I need to see the movie again.
Yeah, so watch it again.
Yeah,
Our fans will check it out.
There's a lot of tips to the hat to the original.
10 fans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
Now hold on.
let me finish.
Well, he was going to say something, and then you butt in.
No, I was like our 10 fans, and then I was like, ha ha ha, and then he was.
Okay, Josh, go on.
So basically, she that's all her claim to fame. She holds her blaster. She sounds cool. And then basically Han and Finn capture her, force her to take down the shields, and basically just throw her in the garbage compactor. And we don't see her. I do hope that we do see her in the next movie. Okay.
Yeah.
I do hope we do see her in the next movie. However, kind of like, really? Holy shit, you Boba Fett like 10 times over with Phasma. Like, a small part of me kind of wish Phasma was that one like stormtrooper with that laser baton.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So anyway, all this stuff went down. It was amazing. It was, although let's be honest, it kind of felt almost like a recycled storyline from A New Hope, but it was still brilliant. I loved it.
Well, it was basically a continuance of The New Hope that I was
True.
reading. So
Yes.
I mean, in the original trilogy, George Lucas went back to it and was like, I want everything to rhyme. George in the original, when he did the prequels, he said, I want everything to rhyme with the prequels. So I'm guessing, because, it pretty much is New Hope again.
I guess, yeah.
I think, honestly, the next two in the trilogy, they're going to rhyme with
But not next to the trilogy, next to the saga.
Saga.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a saga now, because now there's even more side stories. They're debating on an Obi-Wan movie, which I cannot wait. Because
So what, like when he's on Tatooine?
Yeah, it kind of obviously he's going to be on Tatooine, but it's kind
So
of like
are they gonna
adventure.
are they gonna get Ian McGregor? Is he gonna come
Yeah,
out?
like there's rumors, but you know what? Not confirmed, so I'm not going to talk about rumors.
But he
just yet.
did actually provide a line in this
he
movie.
did, yeah.
Because
Yes.
there's a segment in this movie where Rey has like I guess a force flash.
Well, she picked up the lightsaber.
Yes.
Yeah, she's got like all these images and voices in her head.
Yep.
And apparently he came in and did the line, Rey, this is like, what did he say? Like, this is your first step of a long journey or something?
Yes. And also there was like stuff
Something
from like
along the lines of that.
from Revenge of the Sith and all that.
Yeah.
But
So before I pass off mine, because I'm pretty much almost done, there was one thing in this movie that I could not get my head around. It makes no sense to me.
okay.
Okay, the main plot of this whole film, other than Luke Skywalker having gone disappearing, was the fact that the Resistance, or I guess you call it the Rebel Alliance or whatever, they're trying to destroy Starkiller Base, which is essentially a giant planet turned into a Death Star. And the way this Death Star works is that it takes the energy from its sun and blasts out an energy beam across space to hit a planet. Which, okay, I could go with that. But every time they do it, it's like they bleed all the energy from the sun until it goes black. And I'm like, wait a minute. So
Well,
what happened to the sun? It just regenerates?
No, it absorbs all the cold fusion.
Okay, the one thing I didn't like about the new Death Star was how it took, 30 years to build and only 30 minutes to destroy, basically?
Well, the original Death Star took approximately 20 years.
Well, no, I mean, I'm talking about the new one.
Well, this new one, yeah.
The new one took 30 years.
you know,
Because it's,
Probably.
30 years into the future. So
Right.
that's what they're saying online. So I'm saying is it took them that long to build it, but they destroyed it in all 30 minutes. So.
One thing that I find hilarious, think about this for a minute. In the original, from between episodes 3 to episode 4, they were building the Death Star, and they finished it within 20 years. It gets destroyed in 10 minutes. Then they built a second Death Star for the Return of the Jedi. It wasn't complete yet, but it was. They pretty much made a lot of progress within 3-4 years, because that's how much time takes place between A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. Now it took you 30 years to convert a planet. So my question is this:
It's an entire planet.
are they going to build a giant Dyson sphere around a star, making a star into an actual Death Star?
That would be kind of cool.
Did I just have a stroke of genius here? Did I just predict the future?
You could have just gave him one of the best ideas ever.
Yeah,
So
I probably did it. Hey, JJ, I know you're not directing the next two, but if you want to use it, go ahead. You have my blessing.
Apparently, he said he wants to direct the next one. Or he wish he was directing.
Yeah,
the
he
next
wish he was.
one,
J.J. Abrams wished he was directing the next film because he read the script. He's like, oh crap.
It's like, fuck, what did I do?
Hey guys.
Oh, yeah.
If tradition holds up right, because what's it called? The Empire Strikes Back was the best of the original trilogy. So this one might be even way better.
That would be an accomplishment.
And
really would.
and darker, mind you, because always second act is always the darkest act.
Right.
Will be darker than Force Awakens, which would be awesome.
But also, just now before I know I said this already, but just so you guys know, they are filming the next episode. Like episode 8 begins filming in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So okay, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sneak onto set. Nah, I wish we could. We'll probably get some stormtroopers after us if that happens.
They're not even filming in the United States anymore.
I don't think so now.
What?
It's over in Pinewood Studios.
Yep. All right. Well, that's it. I pretty much said all my piece. So what about you guys?
All right.
I have a question for you all
Sure.
before I start anything. What did you think about the death of Han Solo?
Oh God.
I think he knew. I honestly think he knew.
Well,
Your thoughts of him actually dying?
Completely.
well, obviously it's
what I just said is still valid. I think he knew, and he just wanted the best for his son, regardless if he disagreed with the decision.
So he knew he was walking to his death.
I mean, lightsaber versus blaster on a narrow bridge. How many times have we seen that in the Star Wars franchise? It never ends well, unless you're Grievous.
Now for
Grievous
me,
died like a bitch.
yeah. Now for me, it's like saying goodbye to like an old friend because, let's be honest, we all grew up. We all knew about the character. It's like that dude's a badass motherfucker. He ain't never gonna die, but now he finally did die, and I can't. But if I look at it from from reality's perspective standpoint, Harrison Ford, I know that he was disappointed because in Return of the Jedi his character was supposed to die, but he was a little disappointed that he didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if that just simply meant because he just didn't want to do it anymore or whatever. But I can understand why they didn't now because one, he gets his character killed off like the way he wanted it. But part of me, I can't speak for him, but part of me thinks that Harrison Ford just didn't want to do this anymore.
Okay, those who understand.
I don't know. Maybe he loved it. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he hated it. I don't know. But it just kind of felt like that he just wanted this to be put in the past, and which is fine. The man's had a wonderful career, and he has let him do his own thing. And I love that he came back one last time because thank you, Harrison. We love you.
Yes.
But ultimately, it's just kind of sad because it's like the end of an era, kind of.
Well, besides all of that, I meant story-wise.
Oh well, I said, like we mentioned earlier that Force Awakens is mirroring New Hope, so clearly, the old mentor who got you into this mess dies.
Yes.
To give you time.
Yeah.
So he was Ben Kenobi in this situation.
He was, yeah.
And he named his son Ben Kenobi.
Well, no, he's not Ben Kenobi.
Ben Solo. Sorry.
Yeah. And then, of course, it was also funny how the movie mirrored New Hope in so many ways. Like, the first thing that happens, battle, droid goes off in the middle of the desert. Droid has the information to find, the first time, R2-D2 had the plans for the Death Star, BB-8 has the plans to find Luke Skywalker. And, of course, the mentor dies and everything. The only thing that didn't really match was the very ending when they found Luke Skywalker. That was almost reminiscent of Luke going to find Yoda, but this is Rey finding Luke.
I mean, that's because it's a payoff,
Yeah, it was a wonderful payoff.
Because at first I thought, it's going to end with them at the rebel base.
Yeah.
But then it was wonderful to see, we got to see Luke.
And it was so weird. I know it sounds stupid, but even I did it when they got to that moment when Luke Skywalker turns around and takes off his hooded cloak or whatever. Everybody just applauded, and I'm like, he's just standing there.
So how did you feel about Luke having 0 lines?
I get it. liked
I
it.
told you all before there was a character in there that
Yep.
had no line.
And I was pissed because that was a spoiler, but you were kind enough
Not to
to
reveal
mention
who
the
it
name.
was.
I like it because it definitely adds. How do I explain this? You see,
It fits.
90%
Yeah,
of dialogue, 90% of dialogue is, well, not dialogue. It's just the actions we do. Like, I could say these words, and obviously I could do hand gestures, my face, it just tells whole different languages. And the thing is, he didn't say anything. He just turned around, he looked at her, looked at the lightsaber she had, which, if you guys seen the movie, it's the same lightsaber that he had is the one Anakin had. It was the one he had when he faced Vader at Bespin, except the thing fell after he got his hand chopped off. We don't know how this lightsaber came back into the fold, but it did at some point. It doesn't really matter. It's there. And ultimately, he looks at the lightsaber, and you can kind of tell by the look in his eyes, he's like, yeah, I know what's about to happen. And then, cut.
And taking it back to the Han Solo, what I brought up earlier,
Right.
I felt that he had to die. The
Yeah.
only reason why I feel like he had to die was because, this is, like I said, it's a new generation
Exactly.
of people coming up, so you don't want them overshadowed by the previous generation, the
Right.
previous...
Yeah. This is like passing of the torch.
Yeah. Basically, you basically pass the torch for the new people to, step up and, take this new saga or this new trilogy in an entire different direction. So I felt like he needed to die. So, it was...
It was sad.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was sad. But
Here's the thing, you knew it was
yeah,
coming. When, like, the seconds leading up to it, like, oh, no. And then sure enough, it happened.
So for the next portion, what do y'all think of the new robot?
BB-8?
BB-8, yes. How did y'all think of him?
I personally loved it.
Yeah, like this is like J.J. Abrams definitely put his touch on this because he puts new comedy in this. Like for example, Wrath of Khan,
Right.
wasn't as funny as Into Darkness.
Yeah.
So the Star Wars franchise, there was jokes, lots of jokes, but
Yeah.
JJ just threw so many jokes. In fact, I think the J in JJ starts for jokes.
My favorite
That's
thing
how it
that
is.
BB-8 did in this entire movie was when he did the thumbs up with that damn lighter. That was the greatest thing I
Yeah.
ever saw. I was like, yes.
But I will say this. I think astronaut Mark Watney in the Martian pulled off the colors better than BB-8 because if you look at these two characters, they have exactly the same color scheme,
Yeah.
white and orange. But that's just me. But yeah, I did love. My favorite part with BB-8 is in near the beginning of the movie when Finn is trying to convince.
When you're on set, do you look at your phone when you're in the middle of doing a tape or something?
Interrupt Chad?
I'm interrupting.
No,
because
he has a
you're-
right to
You're
interrupt
on
me.
your phone.
God
while
damn
we're
it,
in the
Josh,
middle
you
of
screwed up
doing a podcast.
Yeah, stick at your tongue. That's not gonna do anything for you. Anyway,
How unprofessional of you.
so
I'm kidding.
anyway, as I was saying, what was I saying? Oh yeah, my favorite part about BB-8 in this movie is when Finn is trying to convince him to tell Rey where the place is because he's kind of pretending that he's part of the Resistance when he's not because he's running away from the First Order, which is essentially the Empire in this movie. So anyway, BB-8 does this. He's looking back between the two of them. He's just looking back and forth. It's like he's in this nexus of confusion. Like, what do I do? Even though he has no eyes per se, he's got no face. You can just tell. You can just know his emotion at this
He
point.
does have eyes. Like he has a little camera.
Well,
port.
yeah, but what I'm saying is he doesn't really have a face where you can tell expression, emotion. What are you doing?
I need your charger.
You ever realize that could have caused a problem with my system?
Yeah, he could have had 3%, and we could have.
Do you have 3%?
No,
No.
97%.
Good.
But here's the
Problem
thing.
solved.
You borrow
But you
all
didn't ask.
okay.
You just reached across the table.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this right now and just explain this to everybody. Josh is constantly borrowing all my chargers. He's borrowing all my cables. Like Josh, this is it. At the end of this podcast, all your access is revoked.
What?
Yes.
Yep. And eating everybody's cookies and chips.
Yep. You are no longer granted access to any of my charger cables to anything. If you want something powered up, you're gonna have to do it. You gotta go out and buy it yourself.
I'm lucky
I am
enough-
done. I am done.
Jokes on you two. I already bought my stuff from Amazon.
I don't care. From now on, you're not getting any more.
Okay, so let's go back to the podcast, which is what's important.
Yes.
You were saying.
Well, he had a question about BB-8, and we answered it.
I really liked how they stuck to using mostly practical effects for this movie. What are your all thoughts on that?
Yes,
Thank you, Simon Pegg.
Yes.
Yes, tell that story, actually.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so Simon Pegg, in an interview, says, he says that, he was on set, and, because he has this privilege, because he has a good friendship with J.J.
Did he actually play the garbage guy?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he played
He played one of the aliens.
Hunter Plutt.
Yeah.
That's his name?
Hunter Plutt.
Okay.
Yes. So basically, this is what happened. He was with his daughter at the time. I think she was like 5 or 6.
Right.
So she's never saw the original trilogy.
Well, she's kind of young.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So basically, all her input is from the cartoons and the prequels.
Right.
So her dad shows her this, and then eventually they get to Dagobah.
Right.
And she sees Yoda for the very first time, and she turns to her dad and says, "Daddy, I didn't know Yoda was real."
Right.
And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, "Oh, sweetheart! Oh my goodness!" I kind of want that moment with my kids if I'm ever blessed.
God.
And so basically, Simon Pegg.
Let me finish. So Simon Pegg tells JJ this story, and JJ finds it brilliant. A few weeks later, he's on set and he bumps into the art director, and the art director says, "Hey, are you Simon Pegg?" And he says, "Yeah." "Do you know your daughter saved Star Wars?" And he's like, "Wait, what?" Yeah, JJ heard. When he told JJ that story, he decided to make everything more practical. As a result, and
so this girl deserves an award.
Basically, this now this daughter will forever be known as she'll be by then the woman who saved Star Wars.
It's safe to say that Simon Pegg probably went home and went, "Yes."
No, it was.
A very proud moment, probably.
Yeah, I mean,
if it was my daughter, if I was him and that was my daughter, I would "Kid, wherever you want, ice cream, pizza, it's all yours." Andrew's been getting these texts the past couple months from this dude who apparently.
Let me get my phone and I'll read you these texts.
All right, so while he gets his phone out, see now it's okay because we're interjecting it into this podcast. Andrew keeps getting these texts from some random dude, apparently who's well connected because apparently he goes to parties with Snoop Dogg or something.
Snoop
Something
Dogg
like
and
that.
Victoria's Secrets.
Party. Let me bring this dude up.
Yeah, this is
actually we need some context. So Andrew, you had a different phone number originally.
Yeah, I had a phone number from Kentucky because that's where I'm from. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, about 30 miles east of Louisville, Kentucky. So I had a phone number, it's a 502 number. It's a number that's based out of Kentucky.
Right.
I was in Florida at the time, and I was like, we're moving to California in less than a month. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go ahead and change my number. So I got a Beverly Hills number because I've always wanted a Beverly Hills number.
Okay.
So it's a 1310 number as far as I'm going to go with it. But as soon as I got this, it was on the 19th of October, just before Halloween. So I get this text, and this guy was like, "Hey, bro, so just a heads up, got a few things coming up. Tonight, it's Snoop Dogg's birthday and performance at Argyle. Will be crazy packed with hot girls." I was like, wow, man, this guy knows a lot. And he's like, "Wednesday night, got a super cool event happening at Blind Dragon, Fry Riff Raff," I think that's how you say it.
we need to look up these places.
But it's performing at Bootsy's. And Saturday night, huge Maxim Halloween party, once a year event. Nick Jonas is performing. And he's like, next Saturday, main Halloween party in LA, Travis Scott performing at the Roosevelt. Hopefully you'll be able to make it to at least one of these. And my thought was, maybe I should try and secure tickets and be like, all right, just put my name on the list. What name is it going to be under? That way I could get the name, just be like, yeah, I'm so-and-so, and then I get the free, I'll be on the list, it'll just let us in or whatever. So, but I didn't because I was trying to be respectful because I didn't know the guy, I didn't,
Wow, he just texted you
Should've.
again, didn't he?
Yeah, he just texted me on the 25th saying, "Merry Christmas, bro. Wish you an amazing holiday. Any plans for New Year's Eve?" But I haven't said anything back because I don't know this guy for anything.
You definitely should. And what you should try to do is to try and clear up the airs. Like, obviously, it's a mistake. Try and keep this contact.
I really wonder
because it seems too good to let go.
I really wonder if it's somebody famous.
Well,
yeah.
Let's be a little bit morally scrupulous. and be like, "Sup, brah?
Hey, brah.
Dude, I'm totally into whatever you're doing, man. What name should I use at the gate? I just hope it doesn't say
What name's gonna be under?
I'll put your name in.
Like, oh no, man, put your name because they won't know me, they'll know you.
No, let's not assume this. They say, oh, we'll have your name in, and put like, nah, I don't want you to waste tickets and stuff. So if I can't come.
Okay, I know this all sounds a lie to like all of you listening. It sounds like a lie. It's not. This is legit.
It's right here in front of
legit.
me, right here.
We could put a screenshot and black out the number.
Yeah, we could, but I'm telling the truth. I mean, I wouldn't lie to you.
All right.
I wouldn't make that up. I'm not that great of a writer with that type of lingo.
Right.
No.
All right. So back to the subject matter here. Back to Star Wars. So, you had anything else, Andrew? Or?
Oh yeah, I got lots.
Oh, okay.
I really liked Kylo Ren's lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
I really liked that. I really did.
Yeah.
Very interesting to see. What are your thoughts
Well,
on his lightsaber?
I remember when everyone was bitching about it, saying, "That makes no sense. It's gonna hurt him."
A good explanation of Kylo Ren's lightsaber was when Stephen Colbert was still doing the Colbert Report, and he explains how he was the original Star Wars fan.
Yes.
You're gonna have to watch this video. Not only did he explain why he's the original Star Wars fan, but he also explains how Kylo Ren's lightsaber works. It is actually kind of practical if you think about it.
There's also another YouTube user who actually made a crossguard sort of thing.
Right.
And he dipped, the crossguards in paint and said, "Look, you can see I can use this without it touching me."
Right.
And he used actually a pretty heavy sword, so the lightsaber is light.
Yeah.
So the only weight he has is the hilt. So, and as we saw in the movie, and you will see in the movie if you haven't watched it yet, he used it pretty effortlessly.
Yeah.
So originally I was like,
well, let's be honest.
I was on the hate camp for like 5 minutes because I thought that's gonna hurt him. Because what if he's in a locked death battle?
Yeah.
And when the lightsaber's like face to face, like what if it touches his cheek? That's what I thought. But unless he has Mandalorian steel for that mask of his.
But here's the thing. Kylo Ren has a bit of a temper tantrum problem because he would just go slicing his lightsaber and the consoles whenever things didn't go his way. In fact, there was a moment in the movie where he goes back in to the interrogation chamber and Rey is gone.
Yep.
And basically he just starts wrecking everything. And we go back out to the hallway, right? And then these two stormtroopers.
Innocent stormtroopers.
They walk around the corner, as they do. All of a sudden, they see crap just come flying out, and they hear all this ruckus from the lightsaber going off in that room. And the dude's like,
they're like, nope.
And they walked around and left. It was so good.
It's like, yes.
I remember. Do you remember? Because you told us there was some stormtroopers that were actual celebrity cameos.
Oh no, it was Andrew who told us that.
Yeah, because
it was Daniel Craig. He was Stormtrooper JB007.
Right. No, I'm talking about the two ones that walked away.
I have no idea who those were.
Oh, I don't know who those were.
Because I remember. Okay, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I remember there was the one that was Jedi mind tricked, and that was Daniel Craig. And that was awesome. Yeah.
I didn't even realize that was his voice.
No, they clearly masked it up, but it was him. And then there was those two other stormtroopers that were like, nope. And those were also two celebrities. I could be wrong, but I remember a conversation that involved those two stormtroopers, and there was also.
I thought it was like a producer and somebody else.
I can't remember, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right. What is your last? Or do you have more questions?
Oh, I know there was a lot of controversy of how when casting was first, when this movie was first cast, how people hated who they casted because it was basically unknowns.
Right.
But I'm really glad they stuck with the unknown casting
Yeah,
for all
because
the main characters.
originally, in the original cast from A New Hope,
They were all
unknowns.
unknowns, yeah. And that's why I'm glad they stuck with it, because they were virtually unknowns then.
Exactly.
And it just works. I don't think it would have worked for me if they would have cast, somebody well known for all those roles. So, it'd be kind of weird. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I was really happy because JJ, he went out of his way to make the cameras look like the original trilogy. He went to use film. He also got the original screenwriter. He also got
The original composer,
John Williams.
they even have a lot of old people like from the original trilogy coming back to reprise their roles. Like, even though he's only in there for a few seconds, the same dude who played Admiral Akbar from Return of the Jedi is in the movie for like a few seconds.
Which, not gonna lie, with a much better prosthetic, well, not prosthetic, like robotic mask.
Yeah.
Which was great.
No, the same people that played R2D2, C3PO, and Chewbacca. They were also all the originals too, right?
Yeah, fun fact,
so, yeah.
the guy who played Chewbacca got knee surgery because he was crippled with bad knees.
Oh, shit.
He got knee surgery so he can play the part of Chewbacca.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, unfortunately, between takes, he had to, sit down.
But what's really funny is about the guy who played Chewbacca. The reason he got the role in the first place back in the day is because I can't remember where he's from exactly. I think he's like English, maybe. I can't remember. But he was raised to believe that whenever someone enters a room, you do a respectful stand up. Like, like he was waiting for George Lucas in a meeting room. So he stands up, and George Lucas is like this. He looks up, and he turns to his friend who's like a producer or something. He's like, I think we found him.
I mean,
just because he stood up, that's it.
I think he would stand out in the crowd. Yeah. Yeah.
That could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so next up, what did you all think of Poe Dameron?
Oh, the pilot.
Oh, the pilot.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, kind of lackluster. I kind of expected more out of him. I mean, he was great, but I kind of expected
Well, they wanted you to think he was dead.
Yeah, that's true. So, but no, even in the parts where he was at, he was a typical, he actually gave me an Indiana Jones feel.
He actually,
at first, he was supposed to be killed off, but they completely changed the role. So,
but he's kind of like, how to explain this? In the original trilogy, Luke had a friend. What was his name? The one pilot that survived the original trilogy. It was Luke's friend. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember.
Yeah, well, anyway.
He had a mustache, a very handsome mustache. Had to have that.
I don't know, maybe. Anyway, the thing is, I'm thinking that's what this guy is. But of course, I don't know if I explained this last week, but Poe Dameron, at least his father, is actually part of the canon storyline from the comic books that Star Wars puts out. I won't go into the details, but basically, the reason why he's such a good fighter pilot is because he's Force sensitive.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not a Jedi, but he's Force sensitive. That's why he's such a great pilot. And let's be honest, no one has ever seen a pilot that good.
Well, there was Anakin.
No.
All right, moving on to the next question. It's actually going to be directed to you first, and then you, and then to me.
Okay.
What is your favorite character in the movie?
My favorite character in the movie? Oh my god.
Oh, mine's easy. BB-8.
BB-8 was good.
BB-8 was my favorite because
he was the unsung hero of this movie, I believe.
Just like another unsung hero of mine, Mr. Bean. Not one word of dialogue, yet so genius in his actions.
Yes.
If BB-8 had a gender.
That thumbs up.
I believe.
Yes.
Now, I have a proclivity for characters who really are the hidden gem, the hidden backbone of this whole thing, even if they're used for a little bit. I cannot remember her name. But you guys remember the scene when Han Solo, Finn, and Rey go to that little bar?
It's Maz Kanata, right? That little short person?
Yeah, that little short person.
The glasses.
Yeah, it's Maz.
She was awesome.
Okay. I love that character because she kind of was, I guess, the mystical figure that's pushing, you've come this far. But now you need to go a little bit further. And she's even though she wasn't a Jedi, she knew the ways of the Force, and she knew that Rey was Force sensitive. you have to find Luke Skywalker. You have to go to him.
I like to say this. I was reading online where people were actually comparing her to Yoda.
Yeah.
They almost liked her a little better than Yoda, apparently. That I've read on.
Well, that's a bit of a stretch for me, but still.
yeah.
I'm just saying what I
stretch.
read. That's just what I read. So.
Yeah.
Though it does go into a fun fan theory of mine.
It is. I wonder if that's his wife.
Okay. No.
Or his daughter.
Okay.
Well, wait, he's a Jedi. He never had those kind of relationships.
Yeah,
Okay.
you never know.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Andrew. You've made us lose brain cells.
What? I'm just saying
All
it could be his
All right,
daughter
so
or his wife.
in the movie, she looks at Finn and says, like, she climbs on the table and looks and zooms in her little lenses on her face and says, "I've seen those eyes before. It's a man who wants to run away." And Finn's like, "Yeah, you're fuck right. The fucking First Order is a piece of shit." But when she says it again, she actually takes her glasses off and says, "I've seen those eyes before," to Rey, which goes into a big fan theory. She has a great connection with Luke's lightsaber. She has flashbacks involving Luke. So, honestly, I believe she's possibly Luke's daughter.
I told you Rey was Luke's daughter. I knew it from
Yeah,
the
so
beginning.
there is a big question
No,
here.
you told us earlier when you were in the kitchen, but I said I had the same
That is-
thoughts.
Yeah, but that's one of your questions for later. You're gonna explain.
I was going to do this later, but since it came up, I had to mention
Yeah,
it.
for those of you who haven't seen the movie,
Oh, we're going to include pictures, so.
Right, well, anyway, in the movie, there's part of the backstory with Rey is that she was left on the desert planet of
Jakku.
Jakku. A lot of people thought it was Tatooine before because obviously the trailer made it look like that, but it's not. It's just another desert planet. Her family left her there, and she had to. She pretty much had to go over the fact that her family's not coming back for her.
Do you know where JJ got the inspiration for the Maz Kanata
I do.
character?
No, I don't.
From a teacher of his.
Yep.
He also had a 3-foot teacher with really small eyes.
No, personality-wise.
Your personality, yeah.
And looks, sort of.
Well, let's be honest.
not
That would be
that
an
short,
awesome teacher,
but-
wouldn't it?
Like,
Yeah,
imagine
it'd be
Maz
badass,
Kanata being
yeah.
like on top of the desk. You know what actually Maz Kanata remind me of? Linda, I think, okay, I'm butchering the name. Linda Mode from The Incredibles. She looks the same. She has those round glasses, tiny eyes. I was kind of hoping she'd be like, "No capes."
Right.
Am I wrong in thinking this? I think
Darth Vader had a cape.
Yeah, and look where it led him. He died.
Yeah.
Not because of the cape, but because.
Who else had a cape in the Star Wars? series?
Phasma.
Dooku.
Phasma had a cape.
Anybody else?
Dooku
Grievous.
Grievous had a cape. Dooku had a cape. Holy shit! Everyone with a cape has met a very unfortunate end.
So they all died, basically.
Oh, wait. Lando.
That's like.
No,
Yeah,
that was a cape. That was a
okay,
cape.
it's a
That was a
cape.
cape.
It's a cape. It's more of a duster. It didn't touch the ground.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't have the Superman's cape doesn't touch the ground.
What?
Superman's cape doesn't touch the ground.
Yeah, but he's like. That's not even the
Well,
same universe.
depending on the version, but
Yeah, that's not the same universe, so it doesn't count.
what I'm saying is,
All right. We're moving on to my favorite character. My favorite character was Rey.
Okay.
And I say Rey because I think it's about damn time that the industry has finally brought in a female protagonist everybody can get behind. A badass female
Yes.
protagonist. And everybody can. It's about time they did that, so I'm glad that they decided to wait to this movie, or for this movie to do that. So, it's
Yeah,
really-
me too. Because for me, I'm a big anime fan, and there's tons of anime which have great female protagonists. I can go on forever with that. That could be a whole new podcast. So,
one day, not today.
God help us all.
but
On Josh's podcast.
in the future.
It'll be just Josh talking about
Yep,
anime.
just Josh.
Actually, I would love in our next podcast to talk about the new Ghost in the Shell movie coming out, which has a major female protagonist.
Okay.
But that's
Yeah,
besides
well,
the point.
I don't know
Back to
nothing
Star
about
Wars.
that movie, but
I will make them watch the Ghost in the Shell movies. Anyway,
I have seen Ghost in the Shell. It's great.
It's great.
I'm not gonna give you a high
He's
five.
not gonna give you a high five. Holy shit! Just do a fake one. There you go. Done.
Done.
All right. So,
God, I have to live with these people.
all right. Going back to the portion of when I walked in the theater and I really wasn't a Star Wars fan. I know it's blasphemy, but I really wasn't. But, however, when I walked out, I quickly realized I am now a huge Star Wars fan. I am.
It's beautiful.
What is it that made you a fan? Like, if there's one thing you had to say.
Well, throughout The Force Awakens, I'm all about how a movie makes me feel. If I don't feel anything, can you all know this. I don't feel much at all.
Right.
But when I do feel stuff, I get cold chills. I get those like antsy, like I'm on the edge of my seat feelings. I know this is going to be a pretty badass movie. And
this is the Star Wars for our generation. It is.
And that's how I felt throughout the entire film, not just a portion of it, from the very beginning to the very end. I mean, that's how good and amazing the movie really was to me. So, and I know I don't rate movies high at all. I think my highest rating, which is 12 Years a Slave, I would give like a 9.0. And that won the Oscar back in 2014 for Best Picture. But if I had to give this a rating, it would be somewhere. I mean, even though it's that great to me, it still only got, to me, an 8.0 to maybe an 8.5. Okay. It was still a damn good movie. So.
Oh, yeah.
And I say that because, I mean, the story was top-notch. The cinematography looked astounding, looked fucking amazing. But I really feel like they should have elaborated more on the new characters that were in the story. They did really good with Kylo Ren, with his backstory, but I wish they did a little bit more with Rey and Finn. Because I know they'll probably do that later on, but I wish they would have did a little bit more of this film instead of just throwing you right into the mix. So those are the three. Of the three I really want to know about is Rey, Finn, and Poe. Yeah. Those are the three there.
I mean, I think they're definitely going to cover more about Rey in the next film. Yeah. But one thing I'm concerned about is Finn, because let's be honest, he is essentially a trooper who was conditioned and trained to do this. He's pretty much done this his entire life. So his story, is just in the order.
Yeah, that's true.
So like that might be hard. I hope they can find a way to do it, but
Now I have another question for you. This is Daisy Ridley's first big picture ever. Her very first.
The character who played Rey.
Yeah, character who played Rey, or the actor that played Rey.
Yeah, the actress. Yeah.
What'd you think of her performance for Rey, since this was her first big feature, picture role?
It's really hard to tell because first and foremost, this is someone completely new. We don't know their range yet. We don't know how far they can go.
Did she bring you into the role like you thought that you would be? That
for her character.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because let's be honest. Rey has like this spunkiness to her. Yeah. Would that be accurate to say? But she's got some spunk, but she's also got like this heavy morality in her.
Well, she's got those badass moments too when she finally realizes that she can use this. Those 2 times where she figured out she can use the Force.
Yeah, which is why the movie's called The Force Awakens.
So she went from like this scared little girl to this like complete badass when she figured out that she could utilize the Force to battle whoever the hell she's battling. So. Yeah. It's pretty cool to see that transformation throughout the movie.
Yeah, and like the ultimate transformation in which she's fighting against Kylo Ren. Yeah. And like when they're just locked in lightsaber, you can just kind of like it's kind of like almost like everything kind of fades off away in the background, and like it's just the music playing, and like you could tell that the serenity is coming, and then when she opens her eyes, she's got it. She is now one with the Force.
She was a badass character. I'm glad they chose her.
Yes.
Chose Daisy to play that role. Yeah. I think she was really meant for that role. But anyways, that's basically what I got for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. What do you have, John?
Well, actually, that was actually a big thing on the internet. Like people were like saying, "Wait a sec, Rey barely had any teachings of anything about the Force, but she was able to go toe to toe with Kylo Ren when Luke had to be with frickin' Yoda." To even go to toe to toe and lose to Darth Vader.
Well, that's I really think that he is. She is his daughter.
Yeah,
so.
It could be his daughter.
But
however,
do remember
lack the training she does. So, one of the things which a lot of fans were like going a little bit iffy about, and which actually I was also kind of iffy about, Rey, cool she was, badass she was. She was kind of like she was kind of like Nancy Drew. She knew everything somehow magically. She was able to do the Force Jedi mind tricks and lightsaber battle without any training whatsoever. When Luke had to be trained by freaking Yoda of all people. So for me, that was kind of my one big qualm. And maybe those questions will be answered in the in the next movie, well after Rogue One. But that was a concern.
Well, you do know that the next cast is going to be in the next movie. You do know that.
Rogue One.
Yes.
Wait, how would they be in Rogue One? There would be kids.
JJ already announced that they're gonna be in the next movie.
As kids.
I don't think they're gonna be. I think it's gonna be regular. They'll probably do all this with flashbacks. But he already announced the entire cast is gonna be in the next movie.
Okay.
In Rogue One.
Yes.
Yeah, but Rogue One's about them getting the Death Star.
Yeah, well,
that's 30 years in the
it probably is going to elaborate more on their childhoods, so that it's kind of like a side story. Even though this is like not from the main story, we'll get more of the main story in there.
All right, then I reserve judgment until I see those movies.
Now,
As confused as I am.
okay,
You look it up.
It is confusing that
yeah.
Rey could use those Force abilities just so naturally, especially that she's old and that she shouldn't be able to use these abilities that well. But then again, we look at Luke. He was able to do it.
Yeah, but he trained with Yoda. Rey didn't train with anyone.
But as it is explained in whatever, either in Star Wars or like anywhere else you can find in the real world, nature is about balance. Yeah. And right now there is extreme imbalance in the Star Wars universe when it comes to the Force, because you have Snoke, you have Kylo Ren, but you also have Luke Skywalker. But here's the thing. I know this sounds confusing, but right now there's more Sith than there are Jedi, and therefore the Force is out of whack right now. I mean, yes, there is the whole like Anakin Skywalker was the chosen one. He's supposed to bring balance to the Force, but maybe he brought the balance to himself, not necessarily the Force. I don't know. It's your own interpretation of it. But basically, I think the Force is like, because the Force is like conscious in a way. It's like we need it. There has to be some way we can balance it out, and it balanced out towards Rey. So maybe the Force is just a little better with her. I know it seems like there's probably a better explanation somewhere. It's just that's all I have.
Right. I think honestly, because JJ and actually pretty much Disney in itself is being super secretive.
Disney's newest princess.
Well, they have to.
Yes. We have that's the fun thing now. Star Wars is like they're actually going to be building a Star Wars part of the park, which is going to be awesome. Which I would love. You know, what would be great. What if every member of security at Disney is a stormtrooper?
That would be bad.
That would be so hilarious.
I want the Cantina bar. That's what I want.
That actually would be cool. Alright, insert music right here. That should be kind of cool. I'd love that.
Okay. So, what's your next part?
Yeah, what's the next part? I know you have a lot to say. You just never not have anything to say ever.
No, I shall get into it. Okay, so for me, I'm just super excited and I'm just so happy that I don't have to call J.J. Abrams Jar Jar Abrams.
Right.
Because he exceeded all expectations, and basically this film had the most anticipation out of any film in world history. Because it had so much to live up to.
Well, let's be honest. As time goes on, it becomes a little more easier because film has become more accessible to people world-round. Now, I'm not saying that Star Wars isn't amazing, because it is. What I'm saying is, one day, I guarantee something else is going to come along. It will rival, this.
I know what it is.
What?
My story.
Andrew wrote a script, which is actually really exciting, but...
It is.
But you need, Avengers money, or in this... Now I'm actually going to say Disney money.
Well, not really. It's only
No, you need
million.
Google money.
Actually, and if you do it with unknowns, it'd be even cheaper. I would rather do it with unknowns than people that are known
Either way,
names.
it will take a buttload of money. So until we reach that amount, we'll talk to you later. But no, I'm super excited. I'm just so glad to because like Andrew says, when we were in the theater, this is our generation Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah, Rogue One. Super excited.
Yes, I cannot wait for that.
You'd be more excited if you were actually working on it. I'd work on it.
Well, right now it's probably post-production right now.
For free.
Yeah, Rogue One's in post.
Fuck me. Well, hell, I done
But
lost that chance.
But here's the one thing that I am a little worried about. This is the first Star Wars film, live-action film, where it's not part of the main story, the main storyline. This is the first side story, if you think about it.
Wait.
You get what I'm saying? Because it's not episode 8. It's a side story in the Star Wars universe. It has to deal with the main events that led into episode 4, obviously, but it's not. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried about that. People may not flock to it as much as they would normal storyline, because let's be honest, every time when you do a spin-off of something, people are a little hesitant about it. I mean, the exception, of course, is The Flash.
The Flash, goddamn.
God, the Flash.
So
I mean,
that's
can't
a
wait for the
discussion
second
for another
one.
podcast.
Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. Arrow has done well, but I think the Flash may have superseded him at some point.
I think it's superseded to big time.
Yeah. But
I
that's a
Arrow,
different
but,
podcast.
Yeah, it's a different podcast. So back to Star Wars.
Anyway, so what would you? Is there any more that you got to say? I know you have a lot to say. I know that's just not everything that you want to say.
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. You guys have said a lot of what I was gonna say anyways.
Are you done?
Oh my
No, I'm
God.
not done just yet. Like I was saying, I have humongous hopes for Rogue One because not only are we gonna see, the original Stormtroopers back,
Right.
we might see Darth Vader and Boba Fett back,
Mm-hmm.
and I really hope Boba Fett plays a humongous role.
I want a Boba Fett movie.
You know what? This is what I wish they had. No,
I mean, they had a great video game with Jango Fett. That was pretty cool.
You know what I wish they did at the end of this movie, because Disney and Marvel kind of have a love of it.
Yeah.
There was an end credit scene where like it was back on what's that?
Tatooine.
And you just see the pit, and then like you see Boba Fett just fly out like the Millennium Falcon.
Out of the Millennium Falcon?
Like kind of like the Millennium Falcon just whiz
right.
through the air and be like covered in digestive juices. And be like 1,000 years my ass.
Now that I think about it, we did not bring up the Millennium Falcon not once during this podcast.
Actually, did.
No, we didn't. Andrew's right.
To elaborate on it, what are your thoughts about actually seeing that for the first time?
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia and awesomeness and fun. I want to tell you a fun story about Kevin Smith regarding that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
So Kevin Smith, he's a humongous nerd like us and filmmaker. Tad more successful at this current stage. But, he gets an email from J.J. Abrams saying, "Hey, Kevin, would you like to come to Pinewood and visit the studios?" And he's like, oh my god. He goes to his wife, he's excited. He's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And his wife says, well, that's great, but do you know J.J. Abrams? And he says, no. Do you think he meant another Kevin? Yeah, maybe. So he emails back and he says, just want to clarify, you know this is Kevin Smith, right? And he gets an email back from JJ and says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean another Kevin. But don't worry, come anyway.
Yeah, because, it'd be kind of a dick move at that point.
Nice, so, yeah,
well, that was awesome. So,
Yep.
straight, from New Jersey, wherever he was, and straight to Pinewood. And, he goes into the Star Wars place and, he goes to the office and he sees all these, maquettes and props and stuff. And the coordinator, the production coordinator of sorts, said, okay, you gotta sign this. And basically it's a phone book of, non-disclaimer forms.
Right.
I apparently described it as being at least like, an inch thick.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he signs all these disclaimer forms saying, oh, by the way, if I speak a word of anything I saw until,
Like a certain point.
Yeah.
Till after the release, probably.
Yeah. No, he talked about this before the release, but, he didn't, take pictures and blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
He didn't say any specific
Right.
details or take any pictures or release anything prior to his, I think his Fat Man podcast.
Yeah.
So he does that, and then he goes to the studio and he just sees the workshop where they had all these costumes. And he says,
Right.
"Oh my god, it was amazing! I saw everything." And then he goes to one of the airplane hangars that was converted to a studio, and he sees the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
He
Lost it.
Lost it's a bit strong. I think he basically did, but he used a different word. So the coordinator's like, "What's up with this guy?" And it's like, "I'm cool. I'm glad." And then the coordinator says, "Would you like to go inside?" And I think the answer.
The eyes dot big and the dot watery.
So I think the answer was yes. So they drew down the bridge, and he said and he was trying to keep composed because he's like 40 something right now. With every step, he got younger, and he remembered back when he first saw Star Wars as a 12-year-old kid. And by the time he got to the top, he was 12 years old again, and he said it was the same. And he burst into tears. He burst into tears, and I would have done the same.
What I'm picturing is, have you ever seen that, what I call the anime twinkle?
What?
Like this is where their eye gets really big, their eyes
right.
are watering, and it's a twinkle in his eyes. Just imagine
Yeah.
that look on his face as the doors slowly comes down.
I wish somebody was recording this. You know, they could have released it.
Oh no, like that. Obviously they can't.
no.
But,
No, I'm saying at the time they could have at least recorded it and like released it like now.
Yeah.
that would have been cool. But
Been
you know,
awesome, yeah.
like I said, an inch worth of disclaimer forms
Yeah.
were signed, so no cameras or cell phones allowed. So yeah, so. And then it was amazing. He said, like, he burst into tears, and this coordinator was just felt so awkward seeing this big fat guy, bearded fat guy who's crying his eyes out, and he says, "Are you okay?" Fine. Because he said it looked identical to to before.
Yeah.
And
It really did look almost exactly. Right.
yeah, and we actually got to
Looked
see
good.
new angles on the same room.
Yeah. That's
in
nice.
the Force Awakens, and I was super cool about that, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So no, it was great, and I was like, yeah, so cool.
You know what? They should do that down in Walt Disney World. They need to make a Millennium Falcon people can walk through.
Or just bring the original once the
Oh
trilogy.
yeah, whatever. I mean, here's the thing. They need to preserve this
Yes.
shit. They need to preserve it like they did with the DeLorean. And
Well,
just
they
put
didn't do it at first.
Well, do it now.
Actually, you realize that every DeLorean you see is a replica. The four original that were in the
Well, the
movie.
original is in the Universal Studios.
Orlando?
Thing, no, it's here.
What's
in LA, or it's here in Los Angeles. Just it was sitting on the back lot of Universal Studios, and people were stealing parts off of it when they were given the tours. So they took that car. Had this one guy, because this one dude that knew how to fix up cars knew everything about this DeLorean.
Yeah.
So they fixed it up to the exact specifications of what it was in the movie. So.
Though sadly, because of all the theft, we'll technically never see a original DeLorean because people stole parts.
Yeah. But
Because people are douchebags,
Well-
devoted fans, but douchebags.
Yeah.
what I'm saying is they need to preserve this Falcon. They have to do it.
Well, apparently there's three versions of the Falcon. There's obviously the interior, which are just interiors, and then there's an exterior version, and then there's sort of just like puzzle piece parts. And so there's no like one true Falcon in this
I'm just
series.
saying they just need to make a replica somewhere and put it somewhere and keep it there. That's all I'm saying. All right. So what else you got, Josh?
Yes.
And I
Let's see it.
finally have absolutely nothing else to say.
Oh my
Wow.
God! It's a
For the
miracle.
first time ever, I talked more than you did during this podcast.
All right, so let's cut this short before he thinks of something else to say. All right, guys, that's got to do it for this podcast. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Chad Gregerson. I'm here with
Andrew Young.
And Josh Gersten. And thank you so much for listening to our podcast.
Yeah,
And
thank you guys.
good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world.
and that's a wrap.
May
the Force be with you.